Aiden Westscot, you're an artist here in Knysna, but you started studying quite late in life. When was that?
It was in 1989. I decided to go to art college and I wanted to learn how to paint, and did the design course and fine art course, and then after the 6 months we chose our elective and I decided to go into painting full time.
And which college was that?
It's the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan, which is at that stage was the PE Technikon.
And then you finished, and unlike most people, you just went straight into art.
I did. I set up a venue in Grahamstown with the South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity, and because I had the link with the fish and the coelacanth, and I've been doing some research with them, and the venue became available for Grahamstown Festival, and first year after college I had my first solo and it was very successful.
You did a thesis on fish, but you're an artist.
On fish symbolism, not the scientific side of fish.
Yeah.
A lot of people at Grahamstown ask me, are you a scientist or are you an artist? I said, no, I'm an artist. I just, they've always fascinated me. I've been grown up at Nahoon in East London, around the beach. All my friends are big fishermen, my family's were big fishermen, so it's just a symbol that I could relate to very easily, and also doesn't appear in art very often. It's just touched on by a few artists as a subject matter.
Now, talking about the fish is a symbol that runs right through your art. What is the significance of it?
The fish to me is a symbol of the subconscious. It's under the surface, so it's like the subconscious mind. But all the bits and pieces that I collect from the antique stores are sort of the conscious elements. So it's to unite the two, and the stitching symbolizes that.
That's intriguing. You collect stuff from antique stores. Just take me through the process of making one of your paintings, like the one that's standing behind you now.
What I do, I go source the material at different antique stores up and down the coast. Uitenhage is a very good place for antiques, so I get a lot of material from there.
What kind of material? You some fabric or cards?
Playing cards, cigarette cards, old photographs, old packaging, boxes, cardboard, anything, paper, documents, all that sort of, they call it ephemera, which is sort of things that should be thrown away, invoices, that sort of stuff. But they're always quite interesting they're old and they reflect like a time of a certain period of that time.
And then what do you do with them?
Well, I go buy a whole big box full of them, and as you can see, all the other boxes around here are jam-packed with bits and pieces. Then I throw them all out and choose an item that for some reason interests me, and then I start with that, and then I start collaging and mixing and matching, putting them together.
So what we see in this room now are collages at the moment, and then from collage you stitch them together. Why do you do that?
Well, as I explained, the stitching symbolizes the uniting of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, so it stands for a symbol, but it also integrates the surface really well. Sometimes things look a little bit stuck on, and once you put the stitches through, it looks like it's all fused and it's one surface.
And then once it's all stuck together, you paint over it.
Yeah, and I paint the fish on. It's sort of, I like doing the detail on the fish, the scales and all the fine detail. I'm quite a sucker for detail, so it's interesting to bring the two together, the paint and the paper and the different textures and the colours, the stitching, that sort of thing. So
are the fishes true to the species, or are they?
Some of them are, not all of them. I change the colour. I sort of use a quite neutral tone of siennas and umbers, with a bit of ochres and that in between with glazes. But if I get a commission for an exact fish like I do for Sayab and that, then it's got to be, colour's got to be matched and everything. So sometimes I just make up my own fish as well.
Aiden, this is one of your collages before you started painting and stitching it. Can you explain it, please?
Well, this one's dealing with the tops and tails, which was sort of a child's game, where they sort of had to match the bottoms and the tops and that, but normally quite a lot of humour comes out of it if you mix the dresses and the pants and everything. It consists out of old letters, which are from the Second World War, old postage stamps, bits and book of, I suppose it would be scrapbooking in those days, little bits and things that from cards in it that stick in, old sort of photograph of a famous painting, some comic books. So it's really a mix and match of things that you don't find really these days, and sort of as you start working with it, then all of a sudden stories start coming out, and you sort of remember what you were thinking at the time when you made it, or you remember a comic book you read when you were a kid. So a lot of my work works with memory. There's something that always some people relate to or identify with, and that stimulates a memory, and normally they have an interest in that painting. They can't really explain why, and that's part of the subconscious. We can't really always put our finger on things, but for some reason it's our subconscious mind picks up things, and especially the childhood items sort of start bringing a lot of memories back for people.
Aiden, you've had a number of solo exhibitions.
Yeah.
Have they all been at SIBE, or have you had others?
Most of them, I've done Grahamstown Festival every year, but I've had in Port Elizabeth, in Knysna. I just had my latest one in Cape Town. I've had an exhibition in Joburg last year, a solo exhibition. I've got work in George, Plettenberg Bay, so I kind of spread my work out and participate in a lot of group shows, and it's all building up your CV. It's very important. As an artist, you think you can just sit at home and paint, but you've got more of a career to build than anything else.
You've got to be involved.
You have to.
Which brings me to the question which everybody hates: where to for you with your art?
Well,
what are your ambitions?
My end goal is New York. Like most, I think most ambitious artists want to end up in New York at some stage, or Europe. But I sort of realized you should break into the Europe sort of market before you go across the sea to America. So at the moment I'll probably end up in Cape Town in a year or two's time, do some time down there, and then try and make the contacts to get overseas exhibition together, either in Germany or one of those places, get a few shows there, because there are really good contemporary galleries in sort of the old Western Europe that sort of scene. Their galleries are really doing well at the moment. So get your name made there, and then head over to America, end up in New York.
So why Knysna?
That's interesting. When Trent offered me the show in was it 2007, he offered me the solo in December. I moved down here just to come see the venue and everything, and then I just sort of fell in love with Knysna because of the beaches and the mountains and the forests and everything. So I thought it would be a really good place to work, and I was looking at moving out of the Eastern Cape, and decided to settle here for some time. And it's been good because I've sort of built up a very good relationship with Trent in the gallery at the moment. And but I also feel now it is time that I'll probably have to move on shortly. I think Cape Town way, where more of the sort of more's happening in the big city kind of vibe, and more shows, more potential, more feet walking around.
And for the people in Knysna who wanted to see your work, where can it be seen?
At Knysna Fine Art.
At Knysna Fine Art.
Yeah.
Aiden Westscot, thank you very much.
Thank you.